Hey guys, welcome to Chat with KST. It's your girl Kay, and today we're going to be discussing what Governor Ron did to change the diversity in Florida schools. But before we do jump into it, I do want to advise our YouTube family that this is indeed a podcast, and being that it is a podcast, you won't be able to see much of any visuals, but nonetheless, stick around for the show. So, according to the Shade Room, Governor Ron DeSantis signs bill to defund diversity, equity, and inclusion programs at public schools and universities in Florida. It states, breaking news, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis signs a bill. Oh, I can't see this. Signed a bill into law Monday that would bar the state's colleges and universities from spending money on diversity, equity, and inclusion programs and limit how race can be discussed in many courses. So, how do you guys feel about this? For me, I feel like Florida is a beautiful state externally in terms of its roads, in terms, well, at least some places that you go to. Orlando, Florida is very beautiful. But in terms of, and Tampa, in terms of its roads, it's beautiful. In terms of its apartments, in terms of its hotels, like in terms of its landscape, like it's a beautiful place. In terms of its beaches, very, very beautiful. Certain tax breaks you do get down there at Florida. But outside of that, I feel like its government is very 19th century, like 1800s, like living in the past, and they haven't caught up. I feel like this governor, they move backwards in terms of their gun laws, in terms of their diversity training, in terms of all of it. Like, I feel like Florida needs to be more modern in their laws and the bills that they're passing. Recently, a couple months ago, knowing all the shooting that's been going on in schools, they decided to loosen up the gun laws that they had in the state. And I'm like, why would you loosen up the gun laws? First of all, you're supposed to be tightening up your gun laws, not loosening up your gun laws, because of all the different shootings that's been happening for with the kids, right? The different mass shootings at schools, right? But that's one thing that they did. Now they're going back into the 1800s again to not no longer invest in diversity programs. For one, I feel like diversity programs aren't for the minorities, it's for the majority. Minorities are used to being a minority, so they're used to getting acclimated with the majority and having to blend in. I feel like the majority of the people aren't used to, which is normally Caucasian white folks, aren't used to having to blend in with other cultures, with other people. So they have to learn that through diversity training. So to remove that from schools, to remove that from universities, I feel like that's just allowing the majority to go around with their own beliefs and own conceptions about the world without learning about other cultures or being accepting towards other people as well. So to remove diversity trainings and stuff like that from schools and colleges, I feel like that's just idiotic. Diversity training teaches the majority that, hey, there is a subset of people, different subset of people that exist outside of you. Pay attention to them. I don't think diversity training is necessarily for the minorities, because minorities know that there are other people around them. They feel it when they walk into a room. So I feel like this is just them going back again to the 1800s. And this is not a black or a white thing. This is for every single culture. Whether in Florida have a lot of Spanishes, so it's like whatever your culture is, I feel like people should be educated on your culture so that you can be inclusive. And that's what diversity training normally does in these schools, in the workplace. It allows people to be included. So to remove that, then what message are we now sending? Governor Ron. And I would love to know his reasoning behind removing it. Was it money issues? Or did you just feel like, oh, diversity training, because it does benefit the majority, then it doesn't need to be included anymore? But nonetheless, I want to hear your thoughts and comments down below for those of you who are listening to this on YouTube. Do you think the diversity training is a waste of time, or do you think diversity training helps the minorities or helps all people to understand the people around them and basically help us to understand that we're not the only people in the room? Share your thoughts and comments down below. And if you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, we'll chat next time. Laters.